The envelope is already on the table when this story starts. Folded once, sealed at the flap. A red ink urgency stamp in the upper corner. The kind a message center uses when the information inside cannot wait for the next scheduled transmission window. The man who brought it is standing on the other side of the table. His name is Caleb Wahpeta, 27 years old, Lawton, Oklahoma. Before the war, he repaired telephone lines across reservation land in all weather, learned radio operation by correspondence course, and spoke a language that the United States Army had decided was worth more than any cipher machine it owned. He is a corporal in the 4th Signal Company, 4th Infantry Division. He has been in France since Utah Beach. He has transmitted messages under German fire. He has never once had a message refused. Until today. The man across the table from him is 2nd Lieutenant Royce Henson, 24 years old, Lubbock, Texas, officer candidate school graduate, 8 weeks prior. This is his first posting with any authority over a relay point. He has been in France for 11 days. He looks at the envelope. He looks at the routing notation on the cover, the abbreviated call sign used by the Comanche operators, which does not match the standard Signal Corps format he memorized at OCS. He pushes the envelope back across the table. "I can't route this," he says. "That notation doesn't clear." Caleb looks at the envelope, looks at Henson. "It's a priority message," Caleb says. "The routing clears through the relay at Avranches. The call sign is registered with 4th Signal." Henson shakes his head. "I don't have that registration in my log. Standard Army procedure is certified Signal Corps format, whatever that is." He gestures at the cover. "That is not Army code." Read that twice. A man with 11 days in France is telling a man who transmitted messages on D-Day that his credentials do not exist. The radio operator at the far end of the tent, a private from Mississippi, 19 years old, looks up, says nothing, goes back to his set. Caleb reaches into his field jacket and places his operator's card on the table. 4th Signal Company, Comanche Code Unit. Authorized transmission, all theater frequencies. Henson glances at the card, does not pick it up. "I'm not questioning your card, Corporal. I'm telling you the notation on that envelope doesn't match anything in my reference binder." He leans back. "You want to try the main center at Corps? They're 12 miles east. And then, because this is the part that matters, because this is the part that the cleaner version of the story always removes, the private from Mississippi picks up a different message, routes it without looking at the notation. The radio opens. The transmission goes out in 30 seconds. Same tent, same table, different envelope. Let me put that side by side. Caleb Wahpeta. 11 months in the European theater, D-Day landing, operator card on the table, priority message with an urgency stamp, refused. A routine message with a standard notation, transmitted in 30 seconds. No questions asked. Tribal noise. That is what Henson says next, half under his breath to the private. He does not look at Caleb when he says it. He says it the way a man says something he has said before to people who agreed with him. Can't route what you can't read. Caleb picks up the envelope, picks up his operator's card, does not raise his voice, does not move toward the lieutenant, stands straight and walks out of the tent into the rain. If you've ever heard someone's credentials dismissed in real time, not by argument but by gesture, by a half-turned shoulder, by the word procedure used as a wall, leave what you thought about that moment in the comments. I want to read them. There is a captain standing outside. His name is Howard Prescott, 34 years old, Boston, Massachusetts. 12th Infantry Regiment, 4th Infantry Division. He has been waiting for a transmission confirmation that will tell his column which road to take out of the village. The confirmation has not come. He has been standing outside this relay tent for 20 minutes in the rain, which is 20 minutes longer than he was supposed to wait, and he is not in a tolerant mood. He sees Wahpeta come out of the tent. He sees the envelope still in Wahpeta's hand. Prescott looks at the patch on Wahpeta's shoulder. 4th signal. He has seen that patch before, at Utah Beach, when a line went down under mortar fire, and the Comanche operators kept transmitting in a code the Germans spent the better part of a year trying to break. He looks at the urgency stamp on the envelope. He says, "Is that my confirmation?" Wahpeta says, "It was supposed to be." Pause on that. Prescott steps past him into the tent. He reads the room in 4 seconds, the private at the radio, the lieutenant with the reference binder, the cleared frequency sitting open and unused. He does not ask Henson to explain himself. There's nothing Henson could say that would make this better, and Prescott is a man who has learned to stop asking questions that will only waste time. He walks back to his jeep, picks up the field telephone, asks for 3rd Army Forward Command. What gets me about this scene is how small the regulation was that caused all of it. Not a major policy, not a deliberate order from higher command. One lieutenant, 11 days in France, with a reference binder that didn't have the right page. That is all it took to hold up a priority message in a relay tent while a column waited in the rain for a road that might not be safe. General George S. Patton arrives 40 minutes later. Not because of Wahpeta, not directly, because a captain from the 12th Infantry called forward command and said that his column had been sitting on a road for the better part of an hour, waiting for a route confirmation that had not come, and that there was a priority message with an urgency stamp that was currently being carried in a corporal's field jacket instead of going out over the air. Patton's jeep comes in from the North Road. No announcement. No lead vehicle. The jeep stops outside the relay tent and Patton gets out without waiting for the driver. He is wearing the helmet with the 4 white stars. The Eisenhower jacket is buttoned to the chin. The ivory-handled revolver is on his right hip. He walks into the tent the way he walks into every room he decides to enter, like the room has been waiting for him, and he is not impressed by how long it took. The radio operator sees him first. Stands up so fast the chair tips. Henson turns. Patton does not look at Henson. He looks at the tent, the radio, the cleared frequency, the reference binder on the table. He takes it in the way a man takes inventory of a problem he already knows the shape of. Then he looks at Henson. "Lieutenant," he says, "where's the priority message that came through this relay point in the last hour?" Henson swallows. "Sir, the message had a non-standard routing notation. I couldn't verify." "Where is the message?" "The corporal who brought it." "Where is the message, Lieutenant?" Here is the detail that turns the whole picture from strange into something else entirely. Henson does not have an answer. The message is not in the tent. It left with the man he refused to serve. Patton steps out of the tent. Wahpeta is standing 10 yards away in the rain, envelope still in hand, waiting for nothing in particular. He has nowhere else to take it. 12 miles to Corps is 12 miles. He does not have orders to travel. Patton walks to him. He looks at the envelope, looks at the urgency stamp, looks at Wahpeta. "4th signal," he says. "Yes, sir." "You were on Utah Beach?" "Yes, sir." Patton takes the envelope, walks back into the tent, places it on the table in front of the radio operator, not in front of Henson, and says, "Transmit this. Right now." Log the time and the originating operator's name correctly. The operator's hands move. The frequency opens. Patton turns to Henson. You called this man's code tribal noise. Henson does not answer. I heard you didn't. The man who called forward command heard you did. Patton's voice does not go up. If anything, it goes down. This relay point transmits what comes through it. It does not decide which American soldiers speak a language worth hearing. Do you understand the difference? Henson says, Yes, sir. Good. Because you're going to explain it to someone else. You're being transferred to the engineers at Drew by morning. Pack your binder. He looks at the radio operator. Log it. The operator logs it. The transmission goes out. 30 seconds. Captain Prescott's column gets the route confirmation. They take the secondary road. The primary road, as the message specified, has a bridge out 4 kilometers ahead. That is not a small thing. Caleb Wahpeta stayed with the 4th Signal Company through the end of the war in Europe. He was part of the push through France, Belgium, and into Germany. He transmitted messages in a code the Germans spent years trying to break, and never did. He went home to Lawton, Oklahoma in the summer of 1945. He worked as a telephone line technician for 32 years. He never applied for a combat distinction for his service at the relay point. He did not consider it an incident worth reporting. He considered it a Tuesday in September. He died in 1987. In 1999, the United States government awarded the Comanche Code Talkers a Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor the country can give. 12 years after Wahpeta was gone, Royce Henson finished the war with the engineers at Drew without incident. He went back to Lubbock, spent 30 years in insurance. He is not recorded in any document connected to this relay point. There is no evidence he ever thought about the envelope again. The log entry from that afternoon exists in the 3rd Army signal records. It shows the time, the frequency, and the originating operator's name, Corporal Caleb Wahpeta, 4th Signal Company. The clean version of this story usually skips this part. When the uniform was the only skin that mattered, it took 40 minutes and a 4-star general to make that true for the 11 minutes it took to transmit a message. The men who were already making it true, every day, in every relay tent, in every field, did not get a medal until 1999. If this is the kind of WWII story you want more of, the ones the standard accounts leave out, subscribe. The next one is already in production.